Have you ever wondered? Why do some people seem so lucky while you feel like everything is twice as hard? This isn't luck, it's mindset. It all starts with how you think. If your mind is full of complaints, fears, and doubts, you'll just attract more of them into your life. But if you learn to think like a Stoic, with calm, focus, and self-control, you'll see how everything starts to fall into place. This isn't magic, it's just you taking control of your mind. Stay with me until the end, because today we'll explain how changing your thoughts can completely change your life. You'll discover how to stay calm when everything is falling apart, how to find opportunities in chaos, and how true power isn't about what's happening outside, but what you choose to think inside. Because when you start thinking this way, everything will start to work out for you. Not because the world will change, but because you will change. You'll become someone who can make the world work in your favor. But before we begin, I invite you to do something simple but powerful. Go to the comments right now and write this with powerful intention. Today, I am changing my life by changing my thoughts. Write it slowly. Feel every word. This affirmation will lock into your mind and, from today, reprogram your outlook. If you're ready, let's start. First lesson. Your thoughts are your life. First lesson. Your thoughts are your life. Everything that happens to you begins in your mind. Your feelings, your decisions, your results. If you think with fear, you see problems everywhere. If you think with confidence, you see opportunities where others only see obstacles. Every thought you choose can build or destroy your day. That's why real change begins not with what you do, but with what you believe. When you transform your thoughts, you transform your inner world, and then everything around you transforms too. Think about this. Every emotion you feel comes from an idea you created. If you believe you can't, you feel weak. If you believe you can, you feel energy. The mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So what you constantly think about becomes your reality. When you repeat, "This is too much for me," your body shuts down. But when you say, "I will overcome this," your nervous system gets stronger. It all starts with one thought, and that thought shapes your destiny. When life gets hard, the biggest mistake is letting your mind fill with negativity. One negative thought can poison your entire day. But if you choose to think differently, even if nothing outside changes, you've already won. If something goes wrong and you tell yourself, "This too shall pass," your mind calms down. If you repeat, "I am learning from this," you turn failure into wisdom. This is how you control your mind. You don't avoid what happens. You choose how to think about what happens. The Stoics taught that the mind is the source of all freedom. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." This reveals a deep truth. Your power isn't in the world, it's in your mind. Mental training starts with observation. Pay attention to your thoughts when you wake up. If your first thought is negative, change it right away. Instead of, "I can't take it anymore," say, "This is making me stronger." Your mind is open and receptive in that first moment. That's when you choose your filter for the day. And when you face a tense situation, pause for 10 seconds. Breathe. Then consciously choose the thought that makes you stronger. That small pause can change the entire outcome. After that 10-second pause, you label what happened. That moment of labeling is the moment of your destiny. Will you say, "This is a disaster," or "This is a solvable challenge"? Choosing this label consciously should be your new mental anchor. It's also vital to protect your mental environment. Avoid conversations, news, or people that are full of complaint, fear, or comparison. Surround yourself with content and people that inspire you. Your mind is like a garden. It grows based on the seeds you plant. Protect your garden. Don't let the weeds, negative thoughts, take root. Changing your thoughts isn't a one-day job. It's a daily practice. But every time you consciously choose a positive thought, you strengthen an invisible muscle, your inner power. This power lets you act calmly, decide wisely, and live with joy. You'll discover that happiness doesn't come from the outside. It comes from the inner silence you create when you decide what to think. Second lesson, erasing learned emotions. Second lesson, erasing learned emotions. No harmful emotion you feel today was born with you. You weren't born with fear, anger, or guilt. You learned these emotions as a child by watching, copying, and repeating what you saw. But just as you learned them, you can unlearn them. You are not doomed to feel the same way your whole life. Every thought, every feeling, every belief can be reprogrammed if you decide. Your mind isn't a wall. It's a fertile field. What you plant today can change what you've felt for years. Negative emotions aren't your true self. They are just mental habits. You learned to get angry because you saw others do it. You learned to feel less than because people repeated it to you. But if you open up to a new way of thinking, you can break that cycle. When a new idea enters your mind, it erases the old one. A single truth is enough to set you free and make the pain disappear. For example, when you realize a rejection isn't a punishment but destiny protecting you, your mind releases years of pain in seconds. That's how powerful clarity is. Every negative emotion lives only as long as you feed it. If you observe it and pay attention to it, it grows. But if you ignore it, if you stop feeding it with thoughts, it will go away. Anger, sadness, or a grudge have no power on their own. You give them power by replaying them in your mind. The secret is to cut off their energy. It's not about fighting anger, it's about stopping thinking about it. The mind can't focus on two opposite emotions at the same time. When you shift your focus to the task in front of you or just to the world around you, weak emotions die from neglect. The Stoic philosopher Seneca taught that habits create a second nature in the mind, but no habit is too strong to be broken. The way to break habits isn't to fight them, but to replace them with new, stronger habits. Start by recognizing the emotions that don't belong to you. Maybe you carry a fear of failure you heard from your parents. Maybe it's an insecurity you learned after a disappointment. When this feeling comes up, just observe it. Tell yourself, this isn't mine, this is an old program. Then cut off its energy. If you notice your mind returning to the same pain, do a pattern-breaking action. If you're sitting, stand up, go for a walk, change the music, leave the room. Just look at the sky. Cut off that emotion with a physical action. You aren't denying what you feel. You're just putting distance between you and it. Watch it like a cloud, but refuse to be the cloud. Choose not to hold on to it. Try this for 1 week. Pick an old negative emotion and apply this process. You'll see how it weakens and dissolves. You'll feel lighter, like you've set down a heavy bag. When you unlearn the negative, you reclaim your power. You become emotionally free. Life feels lighter, clearer, and more joyful. Nothing can control you because you've learned to react from wisdom, not from pain. This is the art of the mind. Third lesson, distinguishing valuable opinions. Most people live as slaves to what others think. They limit themselves, hide, or change just to fit in. But the truth is simple. No one is thinking about you as much as you think they are. Everyone is trapped in their own world with their own fears, problems, and distractions. The driver who yells at you, the colleague who criticizes you, or the family member who doesn't support you. They are all just chasing their own reflections, not yours. Freeing yourself from the need for approval is one of the greatest freedoms. When you stop trying to please everyone, you discover an inner strength. You don't need to fit into every circle. You just need to be true to yourself and your values. True respect doesn't come from the crowd. It comes from people who live with purpose, wisdom, and discipline. These are the opinions that matter. The opinions of those who have achieved what you want to achieve. Of those who live with integrity, not just for appearances. The most common mistake is letting criticism stop you. If you do something valuable, people will question it. But true success isn't measured by external approval. It's measured by the peace you feel when you look within. If every decision you make is born from the fear of judgment, you are giving away your power. But when you act based on what is right, not what is pleasing, you reclaim your freedom. In Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius taught that the opinions of others are not reality, just an echo. Seneca said a calm mind ignores the world's noise. And Epictetus said, he who seeks approval becomes a slave. True wisdom is being guided by your own reason, not by the acceptance of others. Start building a new relationship with judgment. It's not about ignoring everyone. It's about filtering wisely. Ask yourself, is this opinion from someone I respect and admire? If the answer is no, that thought's weight disappears. If the answer is yes, then listen, learn, and grow. Not everyone deserves a voice in your head. Only those who live with integrity, effort, and wisdom deserve it. List 5 people you truly respect. These could be mentors, inspiring family, or Stoic figures. Write 3 qualities for each: strength, calmness, honesty, discipline. Every time you face a tough decision, ask, what would my role model do here? This simple question aligns your mind with excellence. When people criticize you, don't react. Smile and think to yourself, I am on my own path. Not everyone will understand your journey, and they don't have to. Your life is yours. The only approval you need is from your own conscience and from those who represent your values. Every week, reflect. Did I earn the respect of the people who matter? Did I act based on peer pressure or my principles? Adjust your actions. Polish your character. Stand firm. When you focus on the respect that matters and let go of the need to please, you become free. That insecurity disappears. You no longer need external validation because you validate yourself. This mental independence attracts true success, real relationships, and a life of peace. The day you stop trying to please and start acting with conviction, you become impossible to manipulate. Your value no longer depends on others' words but on your own actions. In a world trying to make you someone else, staying true to yourself is the greatest victory. 4th lesson, training the success mindset. A winning mindset is trained just like a muscle. This isn't about luck, it's mental training. Every thought, reaction, and choice shapes your inner strength. The difference between someone who gives up and someone who pushes forward isn't the circumstances. It's how their mind responds to the circumstances. If you think you can, you're halfway there. If you hesitate, you stop before you even start. True success begins in the mind long before it shows up in reality. A winning mindset doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It acts even when it's afraid. It gets up even when it's hurt. It focuses not on what's missing, but on what it can create. Just as an athlete trains their body, you can train your mind to move forward. If you think you can't today, remember that strength doesn't come before you act. It shows up while you act. The loser's mind is full of excuses. The winner's mind is full of reasons to continue. Winners don't deny problems. They see them as a signal for action. They don't complain about the path. They walk it. In Stoicism, Epictetus reminded us that nothing great is achieved without mental discipline. For the Stoics, directing the mind to action was the path to freedom. Every morning is a chance to shape this mindset. Start by asking, what would a successful person in my shoes do today? Then, act that way. This simple question puts you in the right frame of mind. Success isn't a reward. It's the result of thinking and acting like someone who has already achieved. The practice for this lesson is the commitment chain. Commit to one habit for 30 days, maybe exercising or reading every morning. Every day you do it, draw a big X on a calendar. Your goal is not to break the chain for 30 days. You'll see your mental strength grow along with your self-confidence. True power lies in persistence. You don't need motivation every day. You need discipline. Results come when you stop holding yourself back and just move forward with conviction. Training your mindset is preparing to win. With a faith that moves mountains and a calm focus, you will become unstoppable. No external factor can break you because you know the control is within you. And when this mindset becomes your way of life, you no longer chase success. You attract it. Victory is no longer a destination. It's your state of being. 5th lesson, transforming the inner dialogue. What you tell yourself when no one is listening has more power than any advice in the world. Your mind is always listening, and what you repeat becomes your truth. If after a mistake you say, I am a failure, You program your mind to stop. But if you say, I accept this mistake, now I look forward, you build a new version of yourself, a mind that doesn't give up, a mind that learns, a mind that rises. This is how faith is built, not from perfection, but from the inner conversation you choose. It's not the failure that destroys you. It's the story you tell yourself about the failure. You can fall 1,000 times, but if you make each fall part of your identity, you can't get up. When you speak harshly to yourself, your mind closes. But when you speak with understanding and hope, it opens to new opportunities. Your words create emotions, and those emotions drive your actions. So, when you change your inner dialogue, you change your destiny. Stoicism views mastering this dialogue as protecting your inner citadel. Your mind is weakened more by your own harsh self-talk than by any external criticism. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul is dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your inner talk is gray, your life looks gray. This reveals a key truth. The way you talk to yourself determines the strength of your soul. Whenever your mind repeats, I can't, or this is just who I am, stop and answer, that was then, now is different. This simple change is the start of transformation. The point isn't to ignore mistakes, but to see them with wisdom. What once hurt you can now become your strength. Train not just the words, but the tone of your words. Do you speak to yourself like a mentor or a harsh judge? Speaking to yourself with hope isn't naive, it's mental training. Stand in front of the mirror, look into your eyes and say, I believe in you. It might feel strange at first, but do it every day for a week. It seems simple, but the mind responds to your voice and emotion. When you speak to yourself with belief, you awaken your own power. Observe for 1 week how this new dialogue changes your behavior. You'll see that you self-sabotage less. You'll face challenges with less fear, not because the problems are gone, but because the way you face them has changed. The inner dialogue is the bridge between doubt and faith. When you learn to speak to yourself with respect, your life becomes more orderly. You stop blaming yourself and start trusting yourself. Every word becomes a step forward. Your mind becomes your ally, not your enemy. Changing how you talk to yourself is to be reborn from within. The words you repeat today can rebuild what was broken yesterday. Speaking to yourself with faith makes you your own guide, your own teacher, and your own driving force. From that moment on, every fall is just the beginning of something greater. 6th lesson, starting the day with gratitude. The first thing you do when you wake up sets the tone for your day. If you open your eyes focusing on what's missing, your mind fills with scarcity. But if you wake up feeling grateful, everything changes. Being grateful isn't just a positive phrase. It's a mental reset that teaches you to see that what you already have is enough. Gratitude turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. It reminds you that as long as you're breathing, you have a reason to keep going. Gratitude isn't a fleeting emotion, it's a daily decision. When you train your mind to focus on the good, your energy rises and your thoughts become clear. You stop seeing problems, you start seeing paths. There's no magic here, just attention pointed at what is already good. Most people lose their peace not because they're missing things, but because they forget to see what they have. The Stoics said happiness is desiring what you already possess. Seneca taught that those who are grateful are never poor. They knew gratitude doesn't just change your mood, it changes your life. It transforms your perspective. When you practice gratitude, you train your mind to see abundance. It's like strengthening a muscle that pushes you forward with more clarity. So how do you do this? When you wake up, before you look at your phone, take a deep breath. Say 3 specific things you're grateful for out loud, not just my health. Say, for my body that let me wake up without pain, not just my family. Say, for that nice conversation I had with my spouse last night. Specific details turn gratitude from an abstract idea into a real feeling. This small ritual is powerful. It changes your emotional frequency. You start the day with strength, not anxiety. When something bothers you during the day, find a reason to be grateful in that moment. It doesn't matter if you're stuck in traffic. Be grateful. I'm grateful to be safe in this car. Or I'm grateful I'm learning to be calm. Being grateful in the middle of chaos keeps you calm and reminds you that not everything is bad. Do this for 30 days. Notice how your mood, your outlook, and your relationships change. You'll see good things start to come more often. Not because they appeared from nowhere, but because you finally gained the ability to see them. Daily gratitude doesn't just attract abundance, it turns you into abundance. It makes you strong, confident, and at peace. Every word of thanks opens the way for more. If you want victorious days, start with gratitude. If you want abundance, live in gratitude. Everything you're looking for begins when you see what you already have. 7th lesson, believing and taking action. Everything that exists today began as an idea. Nothing happens outside of you that didn't first happen inside your mind. Life doesn't respond to your passing wishes. It responds to your deepest beliefs. What you hold on to with unwavering faith becomes your experience. That's why when you think with faith and act with certainty, the world aligns in your favor. Believing is not waiting. It is knowing, with calmness, that what you imagine already belongs to you. Your reality doesn't begin when you see it. It begins when you believe it. You must hold the vision in your mind so clearly that the universe has to respond. When you live with faith, you send out a vibration of confidence that attracts opportunities, people, and paths you didn't see before. But when you live in doubt, you close doors before you even knock. But faith is useless without action. The two must walk together. First you believe, then you act as if it's already real. Your actions become the proof of your faith. It's acting even when logic gives you no comfort. The Stoics understood that the outer world reflects the inner world. They knew that calmness and faith are the foundation of all success. For them, this meant right thought is the beginning of right action. You decide what's valuable in your mind, and then you align all your actions with that vision. The powerful ritual for this is, act as if. Think not just of having it, but of the feeling of that achievement. Who will you be when you reach that goal? How will you walk? How will you talk? Start acting like that person now. Believe so strongly that your actions become inevitable. Walk, talk, and decide as if your goal is already a part of your reality. This consistency between thought, feeling, and action is the formula for inner power. Avoid sabotaging this vision with complaints. Every time you say, "This is hard," you move away from that vision. You create a crack in your faith. Don't feed scarcity with your words. Your mind builds itself on the evidence you give it. Talk only about what you want to create, not what you fear. Pay attention to your language because your actions will always follow it. When you reprogram your mind for certainty, life reorganizes itself to match your vision. Opportunities multiply, doors open, and doubts dissolve. Not because the outside has changed, but because you have changed on the inside. Faith is not empty hope. It is a conscious decision to trust. This is how reality is created. First, you believe it. Then, you live it. 8th lesson, developing a positive mental attitude. Your attitude is the filter you use to see the world. Through this filter, everything can be a burden or an opportunity. No matter what happens, you can always choose how you react. Life isn't about controlling every circumstance. It's about mastering your response. When your attitude is firm and focused, even the hardest moments become stepping stones. But when your mind is filled with complaints, everything outside becomes heavier. Your power lies in choosing what energy you project each day. A positive attitude doesn't mean denying problems. It means facing them from a place of calm. It's looking at the storm and saying, "I can get through this." It's knowing that every situation, no matter how hard, has something to teach you. This attitude changes your mind, your language, and your results. Positivity isn't naivety, it's emotional intelligence. Successful people aren't those who never fall. They're those who maintain their focus even when the path gets complicated. The Stoics understood that attitude is the true strength of the soul. When you choose to stay calm, no event can rule you. The practice for this lesson is the word shift. Start observing your inner dialogue. Whenever you say, "I have a problem," change it to, "I have a challenge." The word problem weighs you down. It limits you. It makes you a victim. But the word challenge pushes you. It calls on your strength. It reminds you that you can overcome. This simple practice instantly changes your focus. Always talk about solutions. Complaints feed weakness. They keep your mind in a cycle of frustration. But when you talk about the solution, you awaken your creativity and power. If something goes wrong, don't say, "I can't do this." Say, "I will find a better way." The words you choose are commands for your mind. Every sentence can open or close doors. When everything seems to be going wrong, hold your faith. It's not easy to be positive when nothing is working, but that's when it matters most. In those moments, faith is your anchor. Mentally repeat, "I am focusing on the solution," and keep moving. A mind trained in hope is stronger than any obstacle. Your attitude creates a mirror. When you choose to be optimistic, people feel it, opportunities come, and the energy around you changes. Not because life gets easier, but because you become wiser. Those who maintain a good attitude don't need luck. They create their own destiny with their mindset. Consciously choose every day how you want to feel, speak, and act. Be the kind of person who radiates confidence and calm, even in chaos. This energy will transform your life and the lives of those around you. Because when your attitude changes, everything changes with it. Ninth lesson: overcoming obstacles by thinking strong. Everything you face outside is first one inside. The battle doesn't begin when the problem appears. It begins when your mind decides whether to give up or to rise. If you think weakly, you sink. If you think strongly, you rise. Your mind is the battlefield, and it's where your victory is shaped. Every thought is a seed that can either empower you or steal your power. When you face an obstacle, your mind might start to produce anxiety. Every moment you worry, you waste energy. Worrying solves nothing. It just replays the same negative scene in your mind. It's like walking the same rocky path until it becomes a deep groove. But you can change this path. A strong mind transforms anxiety into action. The Stoics believed mental strength isn't an accident. According to Seneca, true strength is built by facing challenges. It's not about running from a problem. It's about gaining strength by facing it. It's not about denying the problem, but about confronting it with control and calm. The most important action step here is a Stoic practice: the premeditation of evils. When anxiety grips you, stop. Calmly, just once, consider the worst-case scenario. Ask yourself, is this the worst that can happen? If it does, what is the first step I can take to deal with it? Identify that step. This shines a light of a plan into the darkness of anxiety. Once your mind gets the signal, "I can handle this," anxiety loses its power and makes way for focused action. Change the images you see in your mind. If you catch yourself imagining failure, pause. Imagine yourself solving the problem. Imagine yourself after the worst-case scenario. You, having learned and moved on. The brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined, so train it to see resilience. Every week, acknowledge a small moment of strength. Maybe you controlled your anger, tackled a problem instead of procrastinating, or faced a fear. Recognize these small wins. They are proof of your growing mental strength. Character is built step by step, thought by thought. Over time, you'll see problems get smaller as you grow bigger. Nothing can scare you, because you will know that the true power is within you. When you think strong, your mind becomes steel, your character becomes a shield, and your life transforms into a series of victories. 10th lesson: the return of goodness. Treat others as you would like to be treated. This is one of the simplest and most powerful rules of life. It's also one of the most forgotten. How you treat people says more about you than it does about them. Every word, every gesture, every response is a direct reflection of your character. If you treat people with respect, you create respect. If you treat them with contempt, you attract the same. Everything you send out comes back to you. The energy you give to the world is the same energy the world returns to you. Kindness isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Being kind doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. It means choosing to respond with calm and dignity, even when others don't. You can't control how you're treated, but you can always control how you choose to treat others. Your strength is in that choice. Treating others well, even when no one is watching, is the surest sign of a strong mind. The Stoics understood that how we treat others depends on the nobility we build inside ourselves. Epictetus summarized this clearly. We must treat others as we would want them to treat us. This isn't a social strategy, it's the foundation of a good life. The practice for this lesson is the conscious response. When you talk to someone, even if you disagree, do it with kindness. The power of a calm voice is greater than an angry argument. Maintain your balance. Calmness in the face of provocation is a silent victory. If someone speaks to you rudely, take a breath before you answer. Don't fall into the trap of sinking to their level. Also, in a world where everyone wants to talk, listening without judgment is an act of generosity. Generosity with your words, a sincere compliment, a message of support, or a simple smile, can have a huge impact. Life has a way of returning what you give. If you give respect, you get peace. If you give understanding, you get harmony. Always remember, everything you give comes back. If you treat people with kindness, you'll attract healthy relationships, opportunities, and trust. This isn't an exchange, it's the universe responding to the vibration you send out. Treating others well doesn't mean being naive. It means acting wisely, without letting resentment stain you. It means understanding that every person is fighting an inner battle you don't see. So, instead of reacting with judgment, respond with understanding. That is true strength, maintaining kindness even when the world doesn't. Over time, you'll find that life becomes lighter. You'll gain respect, genuine friendships, and an inner peace that doesn't depend on anything external. Kindness is an echo. What you give always returns. So respect, empathy, and gratitude. Life will return it to you, multiplied. 11th lesson, letting go of the past's burden. How many times have you caught yourself saying these phrases? If only I hadn't made that mistake. If only that person hadn't disappointed me. If only my family understood me. If only I hadn't missed that opportunity. That "if only" is an invisible chain. It binds you to a time that no longer exists. It forces you to live looking backward. It makes you carry a heavy imaginary burden that drains your energy and kills your joy today. The past has already served its purpose. The only thing left is what you do with it. If you hold on to it with resentment or regret, it becomes a chain. But if you transform it into a lesson, it turns into wings. Living in the past is like trying to drive forward while only looking in the rearview mirror. You can't build a full present, standing right in front of you, while replaying old scenes in your mind. Everything that happened had a purpose. Even if you didn't understand it then, every pain, every loss, every disappointment was a teacher in disguise. When you start to see them this way, something inside you changes. There is no longer a victim. There is wisdom. There is no longer guilt. There is a lesson, because nothing destroyed you. It only shaped you. And if you are hearing these words, it means you survived, you grew, and you learned. The Stoic philosopher Seneca thought deeply about time. He reminded us, a large part of our life is spent doing wrong, a significant part doing nothing, and almost all of it doing things other than what we should. This is a warning not to be paralyzed by past mistakes, he continued. The past has no power over us because it no longer exists. The future has not yet come. Only the present moment belongs to us. The Stoics understood that letting go of the past isn't forgetting, it's accepting. It's looking at what happened with peace and not suffering for what can't be changed. The practice for this lesson is the symbolic release ritual. First, identify your if-onlys, the regrets and resentments holding you back. Maybe, if only they hadn't betrayed me, or if only I hadn't lost that job. Just observe them, then reinterpret each one. Ask yourself, what did this pain teach me? Maybe that betrayal taught you to value yourself more. Maybe that job loss pushed you to create your own path. Maybe a love that ended gave you space to find your own strength. What hurt then can be your foundation today. Now you're ready. Write down these old pains, regrets, and resentments on a piece of paper. Write them all down. Read the paper one last time. Allow those emotions to surface. Then burn this paper in a safe place or tear it into small pieces and throw it away. As you do, say aloud, "I release you. You are no longer a part of me." Feel your chest lighten. This feeling isn't just emotional, it's physical. When you release the past, your mind rests, your body relaxes, and your energy returns. From that moment on, give your full focus to today. Every morning, think of a new possibility, a small goal or a simple decision. Today I will enjoy what I have. Today I will take one step toward my goal. Today I will look forward. The past no longer defines you. The present moment is waiting. When you let go of what hurt, you make room for what will make you happy. People who cling to the past carry shadows. Those who let go walk lightly. You cannot open your hands to the future if they are still full of yesterday's broken pieces. Forgive, let go, learn, and move on. Life always rewards those who dare to release what has served its purpose. When you can say, "That thing I went through might be the best thing that ever happened to me," you reclaim your power. You stop being a slave to the past and become the architect of your peace. When you let go of "if only," you discover that happiness isn't in what you lost, but in what you can build today. Final word. Your mind is not a thermometer. It's a thermostat. Most people live like a thermometer. When the weather outside gets cold, criticism, failure, loss, they freeze inside. When the weather warms up, compliments, success, they feel a little better. Their lives are a constant reaction to things they can't control. But the main idea of these lessons is that you are a thermostat. A thermostat doesn't react to the weather. It sets the temperature. No matter how strong the storm is, it holds its inner state at the degree it has set. These 11 lessons have given you that control dial. You now have the power to choose inner calm, not outer chaos. If you've come this far, it says a lot about you. You didn't just listen, you tried to understand. You are committed to your growth. Congratulate yourself. Many start, but few reach this point. Remember, all these lessons are not magic formulas. They are tools. True power is in the discipline to use these tools every day. What happens to you may not change, but you are no longer the same person. Now is the time to seal this journey. This isn't an end, it's a beginning. Go to the comments one last time and write this with powerful intention. Today, I have changed my way of thinking. Write it slowly. Feel every word. This is a declaration of your new identity. Let it be the affirmation that reprograms your outlook on life. May your path be clear. Set your thermostat and keep moving forward. Thank you for watching.